Okay, this week we're going to learn about the Egyptian social pyramid. Okay, and for just a minute, I'm going to read just a little bit from our actual history book that talks about life in ancient Egypt. Okay, it says when farmers produce food surpluses, the society's economy begins to expand. Cities emerge as centers of culture and power, and the people learn to do jobs that do not involve agriculture. For example, some ancient Egyptians learned to scribe, people whose job was to write and keep records. So a scribe was a person who wrote down information, which kind of comes from the word inscribe or inscriptions. Specialized jobs. As Egyptians' civilizations grew more complex, people took on jobs other than that of a farmer or a scribe. Some skilled artisans erected stone or brick houses and temples. Others artisans made pottery, incense mats, furniture, linen, clothing, sandals, or jewelry. A few Egyptians traveled to the Upper Nile to trade with other Africans. These traders took Egyptian products such as scrolls, linen, gold, and jewelry. They brought back exotic woods, animal skins, and live beasts. Oh, wonder what that means. Rulers and priests. As Egypt grew, so did the need to organize Egyptians created a government that divided the empire into 42 provinces. Many officials worked to keep the provinces running smoothly. Egypt also created an army to defend itself. One of the highest jobs in Egypt was to be a priest. Priests followed formal rituals and took care of temples. Before entering a temple, a priest bathed and put on special linens, garments, and white sandals. Priests cleaned the sacred statues in temples and changed their clothing and even fed them meals. So I'm going to stop for just a second. So what is a social pyramid? What do you think about a social pyramid at your school? Who would be the top of your pyramid? And think, because it's so small, it's probably made up of just one person. Could be the top of our school pyramid. And then as it moved down, so who is in charge? Who's next in charge? It's kind of how I think about it until you get to the very bottom. Who's at the bottom, you think? All right, so we have to talk about the pharaoh really quick, and the pharaoh is the ruler, the supreme ruler over all of Egypt, and wear a special crown known as the double crown, a combination of red, white, symbolizing the joining of the upper and lower Egypt. So the pharaoh is the very top of the pyramid. They're the one in charge. Okay, and the next comes that government officials. They're powerful, the wealthy, and noble families, very high quality of life. Okay. All right. Here's the priests. So I just read to you about the priests. So there was someone right above them, and that's the government officials. Okay. They're the noble, the wealthy noblesmen. Okay. And then this priest, they're the religious leaders in charge of the temples, the rituals, in charge of death and burial. Okay. All right. Next comes the scribe. And they were important because they actually wrote down information for the government and religious leaders. So that's where they fall in. Okay. The next part of the pyramid are the artisans, and they're the craft people, the carpenters, the metal workers, the painters, the sculptors, and then the stone carvers. Okay. And then finally at the bottom, you have the peasants, the largest part of the population. They work the land, the farmers, the buildings, Pharaoh's massive projects. Okay. At the bottom also falls the slaves, where they're at the very bottom of society. In Egypt, people became slaves if they owed a debt, they committed a crime, or were captured in war. In general, Egyptian slaves were treated well and were usually freed after a period of time. One exception was a slave had no work, who had to work in the mines. Many died from the exhausting labor. Okay, so that's the good thing about the slaves. At least they could eventually work their way out of it. Life for women, Egypt was one of the best places in ancient world to be a woman. Unlike other ancient African cultures, in the Egyptian society, men and women had fairly equal rights. For example, they could both own and manage their own property. The main job of most women was to care for their children at home, but some did other jobs too. Some women wove clothes, others worked with their husband in the fields or workshops. And some women, such as a queen, T, even rose to an important position in government. Children in Egypt played with toys such as dolls, animal figures, and board games and marbles. Their parents made their toys out of wood or clay. Boys and girls also played rough physical games with balls they made out of leather or reeds. Boys and girls from wealthy families went to schools run by scribes or priests. Most other children learned their parents' jobs. Almost all Egyptians married when they were in their early teens. Nope. All right, let me see if there's any other information that you need to know. I do want you to know that a scribe usually recorded this paper-like material called the papyrus, and it was a paper-like material that was made from reed. It says Egyptians cut the stems into strips, pressed them, and dried them into sheets that could be rolled into scrolls. Okay. And I think that's all that I'm going to do for that. So your slide deck today has to do with this social pyramid. Okay, remember who was on the top? The pharaoh. And then you had government officials, priests, the scribe, the person who wrote things down on the papyrus. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. The artisans, these are like the workers, the craft peoples. They were specialized in a certain area. And then you have the peasants and then the slaves. All right, that's it for today. So you're going to get started on the slide deck. It's not all due today. Okay, so just get a couple pages done today. Some of you have last week's to do, so you need to get going. All right, I'll see you at the meet. Bye. All right, in your slide deck today, I went over some vocabulary words already, so you're going to move them in and put a picture in this week. This week, you're going to add a picture. For this slide, I'm going to make it a little bigger so you can see it. There's a video for you to watch. Okay, so it says you're going to choose a video to watch that will provide a summary of the Egyptian social pyramid. Click here to access the video. After watching it, fill in the chart by identifying 3 pieces of interesting information, why you found it interesting, and images to go along with it. So again, we're going to watch the video, write down some interesting, just like we did last week. Okay. This one here, it says use the social pyramid of Egypt presentation to fill in the following chart. And that was in my video. So you're probably going to need to split the screen. Okay, so you're going to tell me who are the government officials. You're going to tell me about the pharaoh. Tell me about the priests, the scribe, the peasants, the artisans. And it wants you to insert an image. Okay. You're going to go on this website and learn about the social pyramid. Last week, I noticed that I think it's sending me there. I was like, where am I going? Last week, I noticed that some of you didn't read the article to answer the questions. It's super important that you go to the website to find the answers. Don't try to do this on your own, okay? And remember, our grades are coming to an end. So I'm going to move into science. So this will probably be, I don't know where I'm going to fall as far as social studies. I don't know if I'm going to continue this week or what's going to happen, but this slide deck will be due. It's pretty short. That's it. So I have it due for Friday, but it's only a few slides. So that's it for today. Okay, bye.